Now for chapter 11, and this chapter it starts out with a very known verse, but little understood. I've found I had no idea what this verse actually meant for a while. so, but Ecclesiastes 11:1, cast thy bread upon the waters, for thou shalt find it after many days. Or in other words, according to Joseph Benson, that is freely and liberally bestow thy bread, that is thy money or provisions or the necessaries of life of whatever kind, upon the waters, upon the poor, on whom thy bounty may at first and for a time appear to be lost, just as the bread cast upon the water, you think it'll never come back, yet thou shalt find it. It shall be restored to thee, either by God or men, after many days, the verse says. The return may be slow, but it is sure, and will be so much the more plentiful the longer it is delayed. Verse 2, give a portion to 7, and also to 8, for thou knowest not what evil shall be upon the earth. And this really does have that feel, which is taught also in the New Testament, that of it is better to give than to receive. And this is meaning give to as many as you can while you can, as you know not what evil or when all that money or all of those blessings that you have, you know not when they'll be taken away. If the clouds be full of rain, they empty themselves upon the earth. And if the tree fall toward the south or toward the north, in the place where the tree falleth, there it shall be. And it's really an appropriate verse following that of 2 because it's keeping the very same concept. It's meaning there are things outside of people's control. Just as calamity may come out of nowhere, so is everything else in this world, seemingly. And once again, the primary lesson is give while you can, while you have those blessings to give. Verse 4, he that observeth the wind shall not sow, and he that regardeth the clouds shall not reap. It's kind of like a lazy man who will find any excuse whatsoever to not do work. It looks like it's going to rain. I better not get out in the field and all of this. But there is another lesson to gain out of this. Just as Charles Ellicott noted, it is idle to try to guard against all possibilities of failure. Yeah, there's going to be the weather coming in, but you got to get this harvest up. To demand a certainty of success before acting would mean not to act at all. How many people, including how many times have we done this, where we just make up excuse after excuse? We see a little reason not to do something that would actually benefit so many others, and therefore we just leave off of it. So if there are things that have to be done and you see storm clouds coming, this actually happened to me today, just a few hours ago. I woke up, I had about 2 or 3 hours sleep or something after a 12-hour shift. I was very, very exhausted, but I knew I had to get out and weed eat. I had to do some lawn work. So I got out and did it. Now, there's going to be storms coming tonight. I knew that it was going to storm, but I still got out and did it. And the reason why I'm mentioning that is because I spray Roundup everywhere that I weed eat. So, of course, the storm may wash the chemicals away, but that's still fine. The task still has to be done. And verse 5 carries with this same narrative with a very known verse, as thou knowest not what is the way of the Spirit, nor how the bones do grow in the womb of her that is with child. Even so thou knowest not the works of God who maketh all. I've actually said many times, and I think that most women in whom have had children would agree with me on this, that I believe one of the greatest proofs of God is that of childbearing. It's amazing. The brain is the most complex organism in the entire universe that we know of, the human brain. But not only the brain, but the eyes, the nose, the senses are growing, the bones are growing, and that's what Solomon is touching up on. It's really miraculous. Verse 6, in the morning sow thy seed, and in the evening withhold not thine hand. Get to work. For thou knowest not whether shall prosper either this or that, or whether they both shall be alike good. Truly the light is sweet, and a pleasant thing it is for the eyes to behold the sun. But if a man live many years and rejoice in them all, let him remember the days of darkness, for they shall be many. All that cometh is vanity. Now darkness usually points to death, especially in Ecclesiastes, it seems to be a running theme. But this is mainly talking about remember that life on this earth is temporary. Don't get so fixated on all the beauty of it. Rejoice, O young man, in thy youth, and let thy heart cheer thee in the days of thy youth, and walk in the ways of thine heart, and in the sight of thine eyes. But know thou that for all these things God will bring thee into judgment. You see where verse 8 is alluding to death by mentioning that of darkness. Remember that darkness will come. Well, verse 9 is speaking of the judgment to come after death. Remember, there's a judgment, young man. Therefore remove sorrow from thy heart, and put away evil from thy flesh, for childhood and youth are vanity. You'll try to grasp at them, you'll try to keep them and hold them. How many of these women, these celebrities out there in Hollywood, they get Botox in order to try to make themselves look younger, and they want to feel young forever. But I'm telling you exactly what Solomon's saying. It's vanity. It's pointless to try to do that. This life is ticking away. You're grasping at air.